On the Go Wrestling Q&A returns with the Man of Steel, Mike Verna. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good. We came down from New York, pretty nice drive. So I mean, you know, a little cramps from being in the car, but it's a lot better of a drive than other places. Especially, I just got back from Florida last week, and that was about a 24-hour drive. So right now, this was nothing.
So how long have you been in the wrestling business?
Almost 3 years now. Almost 3 years. I started in 2013, October. So right now it is almost April, so about 2.5 years, closing on 3. I was trained by Joel Maximo, and I started my career at NYWC out in Deer Park, Long Island. And that's where I'm at right now.
What inspired you to become a pro wrestler?
Well, loving the business since you started. I think everyone who's a wrestler now was definitely once a fan. And once you're a fan and you have the opportunity to get to train to become a wrestler, it's kind of like living your dream. So that's always the inspiration for, I think, most of us.
So what was the hardest part of being trained?
Being trained? Well, accepting the fact that it's an art form rather than a real fight, and making sure your body's prepared for it. Because when you step in the ring, if your body's not prepared for it, it's a very, very hard business to pick up. It's a very hard business to endure, and it's extremely hard business to learn. So you have to be able to kind of absorb it all and be mentally and physically prepared once you actually step inside the ring.
So who's been some of your most favorite talents you've been in the ring with?
Well, I had the opportunity to be in the ring with Kevin Nash and X-Pac, which has always been a very big highlight. We did a tag match with Kevin Nash in our corner. I think that was an electric atmosphere. Matt Stryker has always been a great inspiration to me, as well as Tony Mamaluke from the FBI. Other than that, I've had an opportunity to wrestle with Val Venus, Crime Time, the Blue Meanie. I've had a lot of names so far. I've been very, very lucky. And every time I've had an opportunity to go down to WWE for some extra work and tryouts, I've always learned from William Regal himself, which has always been a very good thing.
So who would be your top 5 dream opponents?
Dream opponents? Kurt Angle's definitely on top because being my size and stature, I'm not really a big man. And Kurt is overall one of the best in-ring and entertaining wrestlers, I think, on the scene today. So he would definitely be up number 1. Number 2, I would say, would probably be a little bit touchy because a lot of people don't really like to use his name very much, but Chris Benoit, for the same reason. I think a lot of people compare me to him from a similar style and build. So that's something I think we'd have a great match with. Macho Man is probably my favorite of all time. So just to have an experience with a guy of that, entertaining factor and the in-ring ability, I think that would be a great match as well. Other than that, I mean, the list is countless. You got guys like The Rock, Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, and Tony Nese actually, top independent star right now, would be someone I would like to get to the ring with because he's someone who actually helped started me in my training, and I think right now he's probably the best one on the scene right now from an independent standpoint.
So if you had advice for someone pursuing a wrestling career, what would they be?
I think the first thing, more than anything, is to make sure that your body is physically prepared for wrestling because a lot of people tend to get into the business not too prepared from a physical standpoint, whether it's how you look or how you feel, because not everyone can really endure what we do. And I understand that a lot of people in the world, millions and millions, are very big fans of wrestling. And just because you're a fan doesn't necessarily mean you have the ability to step foot in the ring until your body is physically prepared for it. So it doesn't necessarily mean weight training or bodybuilding per se, but be in some sort of shape where your body can handle everything that we do. Because, like I said, not everyone can do it. So I think that's the most important thing.
So what do you like to do outside your wrestling career?
Well, I coach high school baseball, which has always been my first passion. Baseball, when my baseball career ended, that's actually what segued me into wrestling. Many people obviously come to the realization that being a professional athlete, especially baseball, football, all that, is very hard. So when you come to that realization that you're not going to play it on a professional standpoint, I was lucky enough to turn to my second passion, my first passion, which was professional wrestling. And luckily, so far so good. It's been very successful, and I haven't even reached the tip. I'm only 24 years old, and I've been in the business for about 3 years. So I've been very lucky to keep doing what I'm doing, and the sky's the limit as far as I would say.
If they made a movie about you, what actor could play you, and what would the title be?
Well, since my name is the Man of Steel, I would have to say the movie would be named Man of Steel or Superman oriented, and I guess Henry Cavill, right? He's the actor right now playing it, so I guess he would be a good choice right now. In fact, I actually am making my film debut in a low-budget movie playing Superman himself. So it's a crossover between the Men in Black and Superman, and we're going to start filming in the next couple of months. It is low budget, so it won't be in theaters, but that's a nice little experience I'll have under my belt.
How did the whole name of the Man of Steel come about?
Well, when I was training, it was very easy. It was very hard to come up with a name because when you break into the business, you obviously need a gimmick name, as they call it. And a lot of people would give me ideas that were kind of far-fetched. And the one thing I said is I never want to be someone that's not my name. I don't want to be Mike and being called Dave or being called Steve because that's a little confusing. So I'd rather be something Mike. So they would give me some crazy, outlandish names, and we couldn't really sync on one. So one day when I was in the ring, I was a little sweaty. My hair gained one of these curls. And I was actually wearing a Superman shirt. So right then and there, they looked at it. My trainer, Joel, looked at it and said, I'm going to call you the Man of Steel. And I hit the ground running from there.
So what's your next upcoming schedule?
Well, March is very packed. So we have this today. Next week we will be in Ohio for Maximum Assault Wrestling, the Lucha Libre show. The weekend after that, Dynasty Pro Wrestling in Albany, New York. Then there will be April 1st, Fighting Spirit Wrestling in Brooklyn, New York. I don't have my booking from me, so I'm not fully sure, but luckily I'm pretty booked up for the next couple of months, thank God. So we have 5-Bar Wrestling coming April 29th, and that's going to be at St. Finbar's Church in Bay Ridge. That's a stack show. Brian Cage is on it, Sammy Callahan, Kurt Hawkins. Sky's the limit with that. So, I mean, we have some pretty good shows coming up, especially in the New York City area. So if you guys are ever able to come down to New York City, FBW, FSW, I mean, you name it, you'll see some companies that will really rock your world.
So do you believe in the heel or face character, or does it bother you?
I think heel and face are very essential in the wrestling business, because in this day and age where everything comes from a more in-ring aspect, the fans themselves are not really able to get invested into the athlete themselves. Where if you have a good guy and a bad guy, the bad guy can really be a terrible wrestler but still make a lot of money and be very successful because the fans genuinely have invested hatred in them. And that's the most important thing than anything. If two guys go in there and they just wrestle and tear the house down, all they'll really remember is the move rather than the character. So I think heel and face is very essential.
What do you like playing?
Well, most of my career I've always been a baby face, but I'll be honest with you, playing heel is much more fun. Much more fun.
You can follow me on Facebook.com/QA Wrestling, YouTube, The Indie Wrestling Fan.
Do it.
Do you have any closing words?
My man right here does a good job. He's got a lot of questions. He's well prepared. So all the fans, follow him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to him because he is the next voice of professional wrestling.
Once again, this is Mike Verna. I'm Jason Hevel signing out.
Give me a handshake, Jason. Man of Steel, baby. Man of Steel. Thank you.